Hey there everyone, Michael Damon here with the latest episode of Starbeam.one, Stand-Up and Shine and Shill. It's a little series I put together to keep people up to date with my project Starbeam.one. This show is modeled after the agile methodology of a stand-up where you tell your teammates what you're working on, what you're going to be working on, and any sort of friction points you may be encountering, and I've added so much more. Let's begin. Okay, starting off the show here with program notes and any sort of major news items. There really aren't a lot of major news items right now, except that maybe I perhaps have funding acquired-ish, and I don't exactly have it right now, but I will say that, part of, just funding Starbeam.one out of my own bootstrapping here for over 5 years now. It's not just me, but I've been very lucky with PUA, the pandemic unemployment assistance program. That's really helped out a lot, and just personal savings. And I've somehow have managed to make it all this way until now, and now it's getting kind of low. And I've been kind of exploring opportunities and options. And obviously the very, the obvious one is to get funding from an investor of some sort. And I feel really wrong about that, as strange as it may seem, just because of where the project's at right now and the amount of work I have to do. It's kind of in an awkward spot. And I've mentioned this before on the show, just that's kind of where it's at right now. There's just so much more development. And I just don't want to put an investor in risk right now. And that's what I also keep on saying is all the work that I've done thus far, if I've had an investor on top of all the pressure that I already feel, it would just be really, really bad. So I don't feel quite comfortable doing that just yet, but I have been looking at doing part-time work, and that's sort of the kind of the major, event that I'm looking at, and that's what I've been looking at for doing. I started back in March looking for any sort of part-time opportunities where I can develop on the side or help out with maybe another company or another startup. And I don't want to give out too much information or too much detail just yet because it's not official. But let's just say hopefully next month I can give more details on that. But that's kind of where I'm looking at. I feel a lot better doing that because, it's part-time work. I'll be able to work on Starbeam.one 3 or 4 days of the week. And that seems much more and it feels much more aligned of what I want to do. Okay, so that out of the way, outside of that, it's just been working on this next version, which is the publishing model. The publishing model is, the primary thing. This is actually turning into version 2, the amount of work, and we'll get into this in, next slide here. Okay, so what did I do? I was working on the publishing model, the new publishing wizard, and I finally got done with the file uploads. That was a complete rewrite. And I haven't mentioned this yet on the show here, but we had some problems with something that happened in May. And that basically took 3 weeks of my time. And this happened at the end of May. We actually had someone try to use the site to launder money through, and it was very embarrassing to me. It was very embarrassing that they did it in such a way that was very obvious. And, of all the problems that I have to solve, and I feel like I've solved a million billion of them, there was just one in particular that was so very obvious that I did not attend to and I did not see it. And I basically had to spend 3 weeks on that. But so that took 3 weeks of time. But, I originally had this scheduled for 10 days for the file upload. It ended up taking 6 weeks. 6 weeks of time to get these file uploads done. And that's not counting the money laundering problem that I also had to deal with. So there's about 10 weeks of time total that I finally got that done. It's just like, wow, if I had an investor, just imagine if I had an investor just sitting along, well, it's 10 days later, or it's supposed to be 10 days and here you are 10 weeks later, sort of thing. And just the amount of pressure, I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know if I can handle that. So anyways, that just sort of validates my idea of just doing part-time work, self-fund it. It's gotten me this far. I've been very fortunate, as I said, and that's kind of, we'll get back to that anyways. So I got that done. File uploads are done. Then there's the next screen of the describe, and there's beneficiaries. Unfortunately, I don't have a way of demonstrating this, but I will provide I have been demonstrating it on Twitter. I don't have an environment I can quite demonstrate it here. I know this is Stand Up and Shine and Shill, but unfortunately I don't have that here right now. But I will provide my Twitter, feed, or X feed, it's X now, that does demonstrate some of these features, and you can see them there. So, all right, next slide here. Oh, right. So what am I doing now? I just realized that I updated the image on the left, but I didn't update the text on the right. But we'll just talk through it anyways here. Just kind of marching through this is that new publishing wizard, right? There's like 7 steps, and I'm cranking through them now. I have found... I'm also getting some really good quality assurance tasks done right now. So there's been a few problems that I've noticed with my development over the 5 years. I cannot believe it's been 5 years already of just Blazor and working with Blazor. And in particular, there's one that's really bugged me. And that was, for whatever reason, there was just a lot of frame refreshes or frame redraws. And it would go through and for just very simple... like a mouse click or, an interaction, text changes or whatever, you would expect like 1, maybe 2, but it was like doing 7 or 8 or 9. And this is like constant. And I finally figured it out. And this is like years that I've noticed it because I've tried to figure it out before and I just couldn't figure out the root cause, and it was really difficult to determine it. And I just never got around to it. Finally figured that out, and that's done, and that's fixed, and I'm starting to develop some components around that to kind of address it, because it's actually kind of tricky the way that the component refreshes are worked, how they work there. So I've been working on that, and let's see, I don't know how accurate this Excel spreadsheet is going to be going forward. I'm going to have to really kind of bide my time here with halftime, working halftime. Just a lot of different decisions here and a lot of different pieces of work that I'm going to have to do in the next few weeks. So, but it'll be fun. It'll be interesting, and we'll get through it. All right, so let's go to the next slide here. All right, friction points with Hide the Pain Herald. I dare say things are starting to look up a little here on the Microsoft side. We'll talk about other issues here, but the Chrome debugging issue actually got fixed, so that looks really good. I haven't had any problems with that, although it's sort of a moot point because I'm just developing in Firefox anyways, and there's other couple of issues that I've noticed with Chrome. It's like all that work I tried to get to make that work. Now there's other issues with Chrome, and I'm waiting for them to get that fixed. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do Firefox anyways. Error reporting. That actually, I've done some error reporting here in the past week, 2 weeks, and every single one of them uploaded. So that might be looking good. I should probably put a little question mark next to that. Build times. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I have not. So Microsoft, this is a really big development news here that Microsoft fixed this or started to fix this. So there's a huge problem with build times. It's taking 40 to 60 to 90 seconds for just a 1-line file change of a file. And I think I've mentioned this 2 or 3 times on the show with the past 3 or 4 stand-ups. And it's just been a huge problem affecting my morale. It's so bad, right? And they fixed it. So, or they have some fixing going on. It fixes probably about like 60 to 70% of my scenarios when I'm developing, and it's just been awesome. Just noticing that I can notice it each and every time because it's very apparent when you have to rebuild the entire solution, and that's been really great. So that's been awesome. That's been fixed, and so this is starting to look a little good here on the Microsoft side, and I'm feeling really good about that. And so, unfortunately, we have some issues that are popping up on the ReSharper side. So ReSharper was doing well for a while, but they've just gotten to the point here. There's just 2 issues. I've got a 2-minute CPU churn, and if you recall, I've had this with Microsoft as well, and that was a huge problem at Microsoft for such a long time. Microsoft got it fixed, but now I've got ReSharper dealing with the same thing too, and so now I'm kind of like starting to ping and like being a little bit more assertive on this front and just to get this working. And then while I'm at it, like ReSharper has other issues that I've noticed for years now, right? Like I hate to like bring up the Silverlight, but Silverlight was only around for I want to say like 3 or 4 years, and I feel it had better tooling than what I'm having to endure here with Blazor. And Blazor and Razor has, Blazor is based on Razor, and Razor's been out since 2011. It's just like, how can there be so many problems with a tech that's been out for so long and they take so long to get addressed? I don't know. So anyways, I'm talking with ReSharper now, and I'm hoping that they're getting these addressed because Microsoft's they've fixed all the major problems. Now it's it's on JetBrains here, which is rare, right? It's usually the inverse, the opposite. And so now I'm going to have to deal with that. So, yeah, so that's where we're at. And we can move on to the next slide here. All right, effectiveness, morale. You know, I'm feeling good about figuring out funding, and that will also help out with Microsoft for Startups. I don't want to give out too much detail or give out too much away there what I have planned, but I'll just say that, you know, working part time and would be very helpful in that regard. Okay, so moving on to here, we've got effectiveness levels, and I was really lazy with these. I think I'm lazy with these every single time, and morale is actually a little bit higher, and I didn't update these, and I was just like, oh, I'll talk to it when I'm here. Morale is actually high. I would put this at about an 8 right now because just is how I'm feeling about funding, right? So I've got that figured out, and it's going to help out in a few, but it's helped out with the pressure of just feeling, you know, behind schedule, and basically if everything works out okay, this will provide 2 more years of funding and 2 more years of development. So hopefully everything works out well. I'm trying not to jinx myself and not say too much, but that's kind of where I'm at there. Let's call it a 8, even though it says 6. Schedule. So, like I just mentioned, not as big of a deal, but I still feel pressure just to get things done and to move right along here. And it takes forever. It takes forever to develop. You know, again, it's taken almost 5 years to get to this point here. And, it feels like it's taken, it's half a decade to get to this point. And so, yeah, that's actually pretty accurate there. We'll leave that at a 5. Technology, yeah, it's 7.5. I want to say, you know, Microsoft's doing good, but JetBrains is not, so we'll just keep it there. Marketing, not doing any of that. So just 6.5, sure. Support, I've had a few support tickets. They've been okay. Still feeling good at 8.5. Okay, that's really it. You know, I also wonder about, like, if I start working part-time, how am I going to have these shows? Because I'll be working Tuesday through Thursday, and usually have the shows on Tuesday, so I might film on Mondays and publish these on Tuesdays. Who knows? But most of these, I'm still getting like anywhere from like 12 to 15 views per month, so they're not really major. But these are mostly for me and just to kind of keep up to date. Also, it's mostly just for the not the chore, but just the activity of doing it. You know, like just the discipline of having like a monthly check-in and just keeping myself accountable, not only to myself but to you, of course, or not only to you but also to me. Just to keep accountability is a big tenet of mine, a big value of mine, and so I'll continue to do these as much as I can. And so I don't want to ramble on too much. I just wanted to show my appreciation to everyone out there still following along and communicating and using the site and doing purchases. It's very slow right now, and that's a point of concern, of course, but we're able to make through it, and everything's working. We're able to do it. So it's riding the storm here. Riders on the storm. And so we'll leave it there, and until next time, stay safe out there and stay bright. Goodbye.